Calling in Archangel Uriel, Guardian of the North, Archangel Michael, Guardian of the South, Archangel Gabriel, Guardian of the West, Archangel Raphael, Guardian of the East. I call in Brahmjal, call in Holy Mother, Shiva, my divine partner. So tonight's story time will involve a twin flame. And I know there's lots of psychics that claim that everyone has twin flames, but that is not a truth. Not everyone does. And so hopefully this will clear some things up about what a twin flame is and how that energetic connection actually works and how the spirit behaves in the presence of a twin flame, how the soul becomes initiated into wholeness after meeting the twin flame. And so what these are, the story time, these are true accounts of actual events and experiences that have happened in my life. And so up until this point, all my live videos have been more just me being transparent, sharing my own healing journey and showing people really how I dig in, how I do my own personal healing on a constant basis, because we are continually evolving to become our best and highest self. So being woke is not a destination, it's a constant journey. And we are constantly raising our consciousness until eventually we can transcend these bodies. So anyone walking around in a human body is still in the process of healing. So even the Grand Dalai Lama is still healing. But there are many, because I am so transparent, who erroneously believe that they are on my level and they're not. And so I talk often about rank in spirit, and I think that story time will really begin to magnify the difference and what that actually means, rank in spirit. It doesn't mean that I am above you or beneath you. I am still walking this journey just like you, because I am in an earth suit just like you, but my spirit has a very specific rank. And I describe that a lot, like imagine you're in the DMV and we're all here for the same thing, but there are some people that aren't even here for the same thing. So they get to stand in a completely different line, right? But I know that there are many before me and there are many after me, but I am going to make sure that I have my shit taken care of and all my ducks in a row, so that when I come up to the window, those behind me can also move along and keep the line constantly moving. So that's rank in spirit, okay? And we reincarnate to come into these experiences so that we can learn and fine tune our spirit to return to the unity consciousness. Now, if you reach the fifth plane of existence or higher, you don't need to come back into the human experience. I have already achieved that, okay? This is my last human inception. I will not be coming back again. And so the experiences that I have in this human inception as Sherry are very unique, are very divinely designed and guided. And they are not what 99.9% of people in the human experience would consider normal. And so I was driven by spirit to say thank you to those who were slandering me, because it was the challenge that I needed to expose more of myself. I was still playing small. And on a very deep level, that's self-betrayal. But not only that, playing small prevents the line from moving. So story time is very important for my own evolution and growth, but also to share that if you do actually hold yourself accountable and do the work, like those old live videos that I've been sharing, teaching you how to do the work by example, if you stay fast with that and stay disciplined, discipline is so important. Discipline is about the dedication to your highest path and purpose. Discipline is about, am I willing to choose me? Am I willing to hold myself accountable, be responsible, be in integrity, stay heart-centered, constant. And like I tell you, you know, there are times that we plateau because we just become exhausted. There are times that we fall out of consciousness. Don't ever allow yourself to fall out of integrity. Whether you're out of consciousness or not, stay true to your heart-centered path. And you do that by being so aware of your own darkness that it cannot be exploited. Because the trauma response is truly your darkness being exploited. So, story time is about sharing the most sublime aspects of myself. And like I said, tonight's story time, it hopefully will clear up for so many what twin flame actually is. So twin flame is at the moment of inception, when your soul is created, instead of being whole, it is split. So truly it is you in two separate bodies. And so there's always this aching, longing that there is a part of you inherently missing, okay? It is not the same longing for the stars energy, because that is a very real thing too, like having a hard time in the human experience and longing for a place that you know is not here. That's very different. This is the inherent longing for a being, for this deep key to a lock that is the completion, okay? So it's not loneliness, it is an ache, it's a longing, it's a knowing. But you have to become whole on your own to draw in a partner in the first place. So even if you have a twin flame, you have to merge your masculine and feminine parts in order to even draw in that twin flame. So twin flame experiences are very unique. Either the partner or yourself is in a place you never should have been in, but it's a coincidental meeting. And the initiation, the spark, the cosmic clap within your soul cannot occur unless you make eye contact, okay? And so I'm gonna start the story from there. This was in October of 2017. So it was literally a full year. I would be willing to bet almost to the day that I had left medicine. So I was then self-employed and somewhat public, but still a little shy about exposing myself, who I am, you know, as a psychic, and really the things that I do. As you can see, I'm still unraveling those parts of myself. So it was way less that I was willing to share transparently in that day than I am today. And I was sitting in my living room, and in order to come into the courtyard that's in front of my living room window, you have to come all the way up to the house and turn, and then it's the courtyard. So you can't just come off of the street. You have to come up my drive into that space. And I saw a man literally walk through my living room window. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I just kind of leaned out my front door and I said, can I help you? And he said, oh yeah, I'm here to give an estimate on cutting the trees. Now this was interesting because I did in fact need my trees trimmed. I had not called anyone, not a single soul. I never called anyone. And the only one person that I had told was my beautiful pest control guy, Anibal Tafoya. Shout out to Max Force. Anyhow, he was literally the only person I had told, hey, if you know a tree guy, give me a heads up and like text me a number. He's like, oh, okay, I'll keep my ears open. So literally, that was the only person I had told. So I hadn't called anyone yet. So this man says he came to give me an estimate. And I was like, who sent you? And he said, your landlord. Another note, I do not have a landlord. This is my spot. So I was like, huh, really? What was his name? And he's like, I don't know, the office sent me. And I was like, who do you work for? And so he told me the name of the company. Honestly, I do not remember even the name of the company. His name was Nick. So he introduced himself as Nick and told me the company. And I said, okay. And so I just started following this guy walking around my yard. Totally felt comfortable walking in my yard. And I said, are you sure you're in the right place? And he goes, oh yeah, I checked the address twice. And I was like, who sent you again? And he said, look, he goes, my manager just said that it was your landlord called and said that the trees needed to be trimmed. Now at this point, I'm still like, I wonder if Anibal like called somebody and just had someone sent. So literally I was still so confused about this man in my yard. And so I was like, okay. And so I just went along with it. Okay. So I said, this tree, which was a China pine, beautiful tree. I said, I would love for this tree to be saved, but I feel like it's ill. And he goes, you feel like it's ill? And I said, like, I can feel it, like in here, I can feel the tree's not well. And, but I need the tree to be saved because my owl nests in that tree. And he says, you have an owl? And I said, well, I guess not really. It has me, right? Which is what I always say about Salome too. Like, I don't have Salome. Salome has me. But Joel's is the owl that I've never caught on video for y'all, but I have plenty of feathers if you want to see his feathers. Anyhow, Joel's is just shy of probably 24 inches tall. He's super huge barn owl. Anyhow, so I'm explaining to him that my owl nests in that tree and I want to save the tree. And he says, I don't think that's going to be possible. And I was like, why? And he said, you see the top of the tree? Someone chopped it. Those trees are never supposed to be cut from the top. And someone chopped the top. And he said, and it did, it injured the tree. He goes, so you can see, and we both walked over to the tree and he said, see how it's losing a lot of sap. It's trying to heal itself. It's not going to be able to. He goes, my bet is that it's probably rotting from the inside. Oh, my heart hurts so bad because I felt that like deeply in my being. I could feel that from the tree. I connect with all the trees, by the way. But this particular tree I was sad about. It created beautiful shade in my courtyard and I was sad about it. So if you saw the recent picture of the moon that I shared, between that big Palo Verde tree and that palm tree is where that China pine used to be. So I guess the upside is that I had a beautiful framed photo of the moon the other night, but still sad nonetheless. Anyhow, he was walking around and he just starts asking about, what do you do for a living? And so being still guarded, I said, oh, well, I teach many levels of meditation. So that was playing it safe, right? I share that. I'm getting my tea. So I shared that with him. I said, yeah, I teach many levels of meditation. And he's like, oh, I could use that. And I was like, yeah. And so I'm just talking to him, and we went to the back, talked about the trees back there. Then we walked back up, and he said, so you really have an owl? And I said, look, I'll show you the feathers. So he followed me inside the house, and I showed him some feathers. He's like, wow, that's amazing. And so we walked back outside, and I bent down to pet one of the cats. And as soon as I stood up, that's when I made eye contact with him. And so when you make eye contact, it's not just a recognition, like when you've had a past life with someone. It's not just a flash of familiarity. I literally felt like a shock, a cosmic shock through my body, and my thighs got hot. And I felt like this tremble shoot through me. And he says, so how's my energy? And I said, you're cool. And I just went inside. I'm not even kidding you. I retreated so fast because I didn't know what was occurring. It shocked me, literally. So I went into the house and shut the door. And I said aloud in that moment, what the fuck was that? Oh my God. So that night, and for years, I've been having every Monday night. So I know it was a Monday. Every Monday night I do breath work with my soul sister. And I'll probably share a story too about how her and I had met and had immediate recognition, but we were twins in Atlantis together. And so every Monday night, we had made an agreement that we would have a phone date, and we would vision with each other and then do breath work. And so that night when she called, I shared that with her, and I was like, it was the wildest thing. I really couldn't tell you what that was, what happened or anything. I said, I don't even know. Like, I can still feel it in my body. It's the weirdest thing. And she's like, well, what's his name? And I was like, his name is Nick. And I said, I didn't even get a card from that dude. But before he left, like before he said, how's my energy? I said, how am I going to get this estimate? And he said, well, they usually email it. And I said, I have a really strong suspicion that they don't have my email or my phone number. Let me give you one of my cards. So I gave him one of my cards so that I could get the estimate, because I knew he was in the wrong place. Like, I hadn't called anybody. And I had checked with Anibal, by the way, to see if he sent someone. He's like, no, I hadn't told anybody. He goes, I don't know anybody who cuts trees. And I was like, man. So the one option that was available that he could have possibly come through my word of mouth, it didn't happen that way. So I knew there was something very special about our meeting that day. So anyhow, envisioning, she goes, well, let me feel into it. And she literally said, I feel there's something involved with sex magic. And I was like, really? Oh, because I felt it in my body, but I didn't feel like it was that. I didn't feel like it involved anything like magic. Because magic is a realm of energy. It's an energetic pool that's very different than divine energy. And it savors more of just false. It's a facade of divine energy. It's what people go to when they really don't have divine gifts. And so they want to feign this power and awareness. And so they dip into energetic pools like magic. And it's not true divine energy. But I didn't feel that. I really felt that there was something divine about him and about that meeting. But it was my night to do breath work. So as we were going to go into breath work, I told her, I said, I'm setting the intention that I want to be clear on this. I want Spirit to really show me something about this. And immediately what I was shown in that breath work was powerful. So this male and I were partners, husband and wife, and we had a daughter. That daughter was Rebecca, and Rebecca is my soul sister whom I was doing breath work with. So I'm being shown this in breath work, and it was just like blowing my mind. And I saw him returning. So this was very old. We were in a thatched roof cottage when he returned, and it felt like he had either been hunting or away on a long excursion, maybe fighting. But when he came home, he scooped me up and right away said, let's go to the stones. And so I felt that right away, and our daughter I felt was her. And I right away was snapped out of it. And I came out of the breath work and told her, because that's the only bits, the morsels that I had. I said, he was my husband and you were our daughter. He was your father. Holy shit. Rebecca, he was your father in a past life. And I was like, that is so cool. So I didn't have his number. It wasn't like I was going to reach out to him and be like, hey, Nick, by the way, like when we made eye contact, I don't know if you felt it, but this is why. So it happens a lot that I have past life connection with people that tend to like just happen into my life. So I don't share it. And I saw Janaea's on here. Janaea, how long did it take for me to share with you that we had past life and exactly what role we played? And actually, I didn't even tell you. I made you guess. I said, what was I? I want you to feel the energy of it. What am I to you? And you right away guessed. That was so beautiful. We were sharing lunch. Anyhow, I normally don't say. And because everyone feels familiar to me, right? Once you're an old enough soul, everyone is familiar. But those that come into your closest circle have very key roles that they're playing for you, and probably key karmic roles as well. So very important karmic things that have to be healed and cleared. So when I got out of the breath work and I shared that with her, she said, oh my gosh, I know that to be true. And as soon as I shared that with her, aloha sister from Hawaii. So as soon as I shared that with her, she right away started having this vision, and she told me, she said, oh my gosh, I see this. You're right. And I see a trunk. There's a hand-carved wooden trunk, and I see you putting me inside the trunk. And as soon as she said that, I started crying. And so I've shared with you many times on lives, if you are crying from the outside of your eyes, those are karmic tears. You are burning karma when that happens. There are no tear ducts in the outside of the eyes. So if you are crying from the outside of your eye, you are burning karma. If you are crying from the inside of your eyes, that is processing emotion. Both are good. One is not better than the other. They're both phenomenal, just so you know the difference. Anyhow, I just start crying, and I was burning karma. And she said, oh my God, you told me, stay quiet, baby, stay quiet. And they came for you. They came for you. They burned you. So Janaea says maybe it was a year that I finally had said something. We were at Maria's, yes. It's Curry's now. Yep, it's an Indian restaurant now. But I was like, did we know each other? And you said, tell me. It felt like you were my mama. And you said yes. And then we both cried. I remember we both cried. That was so beautiful. Yes. Beautiful, like it was yesterday. And So Rebecca shared that with me, and I was crying, and she said they came for you and they burned you. They burned you. And so that's all I had known at that point, that he was my husband, and something had occurred where they came for me, and I had to hide her. I hid her in a trunk, and they came for me and killed me. So I knew that there was way more to that story, but I wasn't seeing it. And so just like the Emily story that I shared on Tuesday, sometimes it takes decades for these things to unfold, and everything is always on time. Everything is always as it should be and divinely designed, and they will unfold as they need be. You will meet who you need to meet when you need to meet them, and things will unravel as they should. And there is no fast track. You can't take psychedelics and plant medicine and think you're going to fast track through very specific things that need to be learned and felt and processed and seen to completion, because that's what karmic things are. They have to be seen to completion. So this life, because it is my last, I have a whole lot of karmic things and loose ends that need to be tied up. And so this really felt like it was one. So anyhow, fast forward, that was October, like I said. Fast forward now to February. So that's 4 months into the future, 4 months. And I get a phone call, and we're talking on the phone, voice talking, and I'm in the kitchen cooking with my daughter. I'm making dinner for the night. And he said, "Sherry, I don't know if you remember me. My name is Nick. I came there to give you an estimate on your trees." And so I said, "Of course I remember you." And he said, "Did you ever get your trees cut?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I did, but I never did get an estimate from your company." And I ended up going with someone else. And he said, "Yeah, I no longer work there, but I do still cut trees. So I guess what I was calling for is to see if your trees were taken care of to your satisfaction." And so I said, "Actually, all but one, my palm tree." And he didn't skin it like he was supposed to. And when I called him back, because he finished on a day that I wasn't here, when I called him back, he said, "I'm already on my way to Guatemala for the holidays," because it was in December. So I said, "So no, my palm tree still needs to be cleaned. The trunk needs to be cleaned." And he said, "Would you be willing to work a trade?" And I said, "Well, what did you have in mind?" He said, "I really need to learn meditation. I'm having a really rough go. I'm having really bad anxiety attacks, and I want to learn meditation." So I said, "You know what? Sure, I'd be willing to do that." And he said, "That's amazing. Okay, all right. So I guess, how should we do this?" And he goes, "Like right now, I'm having a really bad anxiety attack." Now, this is something I want you to be aware of this. This is something I never do. I will never offer to work for free on someone I do not know that is called me. I have gone to parks, I have gone down by the river and offered services and with transients. And there's one particular Starbucks here locally. No matter who I'm sitting with or what, if I am out in front of that Starbucks, something phenomenal happens, and a person will come and need healing, and I do it just right in front of the Starbucks. So that has happened. But it has never happened that someone seeks me and I work for free on the phone. So I said, well, if you give me permission, I can help with that a little bit. And he's like, okay, you have my permission. So the way that I do that, I just start pulling it down, all the energy down, so that I can ground them whenever I'm working on someone. So I'm pulling the energy down. And as soon as I get into his heart, I can feel it. And my body starts trembling like I'm about to have an orgasm. And right away he says, I need you to see something. So I hustle to the other room, to my bedroom, because I'm in the kitchen, remember, cooking with my daughter. And I'm like, holy fuck. And so I sit down on the edge of the bed and I'm like heaving, trying to ground myself and not have an orgasm, but I'm not touching myself and I cannot stop it. Literally, I am full on contracting. And so I'm like, I gotta go. And I hung up. I hung up the phone and he right away texts me, can we please talk? And I said, absolutely not. He said, can we FaceTime? And I said, no, never. And I blocked him. So I literally felt as if I was being psychically attacked in that moment, because never in my life had I started cleansing someone or helping them energetically and started having an orgasm. And especially because he said, there's something I need you to see, I felt that was like him setting it up. So I was angry. I was really pissed. And so I blocked him. And I gathered myself and went back to cooking dinner with my daughter. And didn't even think about it. Was it uncomfortable? Are orgasms ever uncomfortable? No, but I was angry that there was not a permission, that it was happening without my invitation, I guess I should say. So I really did feel like I was being psychically attacked. Anyhow, fast forward now to the summer. So this is now summer of 2018. And I'm from New York. When my mother retired, she moved to Pennsylvania. So I was flying to spend 2 months in Pennsylvania at my mother's with my kids. So we flew back east and we were out riding around in the country and my phone was not loading. The data was super slow. The phone connection was horrible. So I just started deleting things, old emails, old messages, old photographs, just to clear up the data on my phone so that it wouldn't be so slow. And like deleting old contacts. And for some reason, instead of deleting him, Nick, because I saved that number to block him, instead of deleting it, I unblocked him. And almost immediately, I got a text from him. It was that instant. And he said, look, can we talk, please? I know it's been a while. Can we please talk? And so I responded, is this a new text or is this old? I had never even blocked anyone up until that point. I've gotten very good at it, by the way. I've gotten very good at blocking motherfuckers. But I had never blocked anyone up until that point. So I had no practice on, does it collect old texts? And then when you unblock them, they just come in. So he says, no, I just texted you. And I said, okay. And he said, can we talk? And I said, well, I'm out riding around. I'll text you when I get back. And he said, okay. So when I got back to my mother's house, I went up to the room that I was staying in and I texted him. I said, okay, I'm back. And he said, look, I have questions. And I said, questions? ? And he said, yeah, about what you did. And I said, what I did? Because at this point now I'm getting angry again. What I did? ! And he said, yes. And I said, you mean what you did? ! And he said, I didn't do anything. And he goes, look, I'm just going to be blunt and honest. He said, I literally had 3 orgasms back to back talking to you on the phone. And he said, that never even happened to me when I was a teenage boy. And he said, so what did you do? And I was livid. But also impressed. I was impressed, but mad that motherfucker thought that I would be out of integrity when I said I would help him and do some shit like that. So I said, I did nothing, but just so you know, I take my work very seriously and I was helping you and I had an orgasm. And he said, seriously? ! And I said, seriously. And he said, look, why is that happening? And I said, I don't know. Probably some past life connection. I don't know. And I said, if you honestly swear that you did nothing, that's the only thing I can think of. That it's the past life connection we had was so intense that it would cause that to happen. And I said, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. And so I told him about when he was in my yard and when we made eye contact, how I felt inside my body. And he says, okay, well, since we're making confessions, he said, I felt that way. He said, before you ever even looked in my eyes, I felt that way. He said, look, I've seen beautiful women before. And he said, but I never in my life felt like I wanted to touch somebody as much as I wanted to touch you. But I literally felt like I had a right to. Like you're my woman. Like I had a right to pull you close to me and kiss me. And he said, and I was like, I couldn't talk. I kept feeling like I was stuttering. And he said, and then I almost lost it when you bent down to pet. I don't even remember if it was a dog or a cat, but I remember you bent down to pet the damn animal. And I thought I was going to choke. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so, well, after you left, I literally shut the door and I said aloud, what the fuck? And I said, so I didn't know what was happening. And he said, but I didn't call you for the trees. I called because I knew there was something to that. And he said, but then when that started happening on the phone, he goes, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared because I thought you were doing it. And he goes, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure. He goes, do you believe in God? And I said, of course, that's who I work for, dude. Like, I work for the big man. I'm employed by God. That's who I work for. That's the work I do. I do divine work. That's why I tell you, I take my work seriously. And I don't fuck around. Like, I wouldn't do that. And so he goes, does distance matter? Because I'm not in Arizona anymore. And I said, I'm not in Arizona either. And he said, well, I'm in Oregon. And I said, I'm in Pennsylvania. And he goes, so what if I was to say, and he records his voice, come to me, Sherry. And as soon as I played that, my body started having an orgasm again. And I was like, what in the fuck is happening? And I just set the phone down. I was looking at the phone, but I set the phone down and I'm like trembling. And he texted, "It's happening again." And I didn't want to touch the phone. I honestly did not want to touch the phone. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to do anything. I just laid back and I had the phone there and I laid back on the pillows. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I said, you know what? I had you blocked. And I literally just unblocked you today. And the minute I unblocked you, you texted me, "What the fuck is going on?" And he said, "That's what I want to know." And he said, "Look, I'm going to be back in Arizona in August." I'm going to do another one.